How to Grow Red Garnet Amaranth by Bagel Finagle. The more you know, the better you'll grow.
Alright guys, first what we're going to do, we got our seeds. Of course you're going to have seeds. We'll have links in the description for all the equipment that you see here today or something comparable to. Alright, once you get your seeds, of course you're going to want to scale. You're going to want something to measure your seeds in. You're going to want something to weigh your seeds in. Put that to the side. Let's talk about our trays here. Here we use a 3-tray growing method. So the first one's going to be a solid tray. This will be the base. Alright. This is going to serve a couple of different purposes. Not only is it going to keep everything together, it's going to hold water for when we bottom water. So when we bottom water, pretend there's soil in here. It's going to seep up through that soil. So we're going to, of course, want something solid to hold that water. This is where we're going to put our water in once we get to that phase. Second tray, of course, as you've seen, has holes in it. This is also going to serve a couple of different functions. Of course, it's going to keep our soil. It has the breathing holes in there so saturation, water can come through. And it also is going to allow excess water to run through the top as well when we do our top watering stage. And the third is going to be another solid tray. We're going to fit this in here after the seed have been sown, and we're going to place a weight on top. And I'll go over that once we get to that point. For now, we're going to leave this as this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to empty our soil into here. Okay guys, so this right here is amaranth. It's an organic seed. It's a very light seed, extremely light. We're going to go ahead and turn our scale on here. Make sure it zeroes out. Okay, so here we're going to be growing amaranth. It's an organic seed, very light seed. We go ahead and turned our scale on. Go ahead and zero it out. Now a 10 by 10 tray is going to take 10 grams of amaranth seed. So go ahead and pour it out, and you can see how small they are. They're a very tiny seed. So we'll go ahead and put 10 grams in there. Oh, way too much. 8, 9, 10, 9, 10. It's flickering between the two. Touch a little bit more. Beautiful. I'm good with that. Once we've got our seed weighed, move everything. We'll go ahead and go back over the trays again. As you can tell, we got a solid tray. We have the tray that our medium is in with holes, of course. This tray right here has holes, and you can see the solid tray below it. Alright guys, we'll go ahead and start the sowing process. You can tell this is a very small seed, so be pretty careful when you sow this across. It's very light. I like to do the tap method, and of course I like to tap across. Try to get it even as possible. No large densities of the seed by itself. It only causes problems down the road. It will trap moisture, stuff like that. You can tell we're sowing directly on top of the soil here. And this is not a weighted seed. But when I say weighted, when we put this third tray on top, we're not going to put a weight on top of it. That's such a light seed. The root system is so minute that we don't want to harm it by adding weight to it. So you see how I'm doing this here, just back and forth, tapping them out lightly as possible. You can also give it a little shake. Make sure you get the edges good. It looks wonderful. Make sure y'all leave questions, guys. If you have any questions about any of the process that I do, let us know. All right, so once we've sowed our seed, we're going to take our pump sprayer again. We're going to go ahead and lightly mist. That's plenty like that. All right, guys, like I said before, this is amaranth. We're going to take this tray up here. We're not going to set it down like this. We're not going to weight it. It's going to go just like this. Boom. All right, that's it.
This is amaranth. It's been 12 hours. I'm gonna take off this dome lid, give it a light water. Amaranth is sensitive to too much overwatering, so very light. Then we're simply gonna put this dome lid back on, and we'll check this again in 12 hours. All right, it has been another 12 hours for our amaranth. So we're gonna take this dome off and mist it again. Okay. You're gonna wanna pay attention to the edges of the soil. You can see it's a little dry. So I'm gonna add slightly more water than I normally would. And the seeds are super, super tiny, but I am starting to see a little bit of redness, which is showing germination. So we should see a little more on the next water in about 12 hours. So I'm gonna put this dome back on, put it back in blackout.
Okay, so we're back watering the amaranth. It's been 12 hours. Just looking at everything looks good. Seems a little on the dry side, so we'll go ahead and give this a decent water. And that's plenty right there. It doesn't need a whole lot of water at all. You can see we've already got some sprouts coming in. Looks great. I'm gonna go ahead and put the dome back on this and put it on the rack. See you in 12 hours. Okay, it's been 12 more hours for our amaranth. Go ahead and pull this across. Big increase in growth. We're lacking right here. Don't know what happened, so we'll go ahead and give this a little water, and we'll pay attention to this as well. Of course, this isn't for sale. This is just solely for us and for teaching purposes. So I'm glad it'll give me a chance to kind of troubleshoot with y'all guys on what we're gonna do. All right, for right now, we're gonna put this back in dome and put it back and monitor again in 12 hours. All right, guys, it's 12 more hours into our amaranth. Looking good. Got a little less germination right here, but it's nothing to worry about right now. I think it'll catch up. If you haven't noticed by now, this is only a top water product. All right, looks great. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the next batch. See you in 12 hours. All right, guys, back to our amaranth. We've removed the dome. Giving our look over. Looks great, absolutely perfect. We're starting to see this part that was that hadn't germinated fully began germinating already and just started shooting up. So that's good. It's definitely going to catch up to the rest of the crop. Give this a spray. A light mist, guys. That's it, a light mist. This is a very thin crop, as you can tell, and this is only top water only. Top water only. The root system is not, it won't penetrate deep enough to get and go down far enough for the holes in this tray to absorb the water. So that looks great. We'll go ahead and put the dome back on it and see you in 12 hours. All right, it's been 12 more hours for our amaranth. We pulled the dome off, do our daily inspection. Everything looks good. Give this another top water. Definitely enough right there. Once again, giving it a look over. It looks like we'll be pulling this out of blackout possibly tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening. So 12 to 24 hours. We're gonna expect to put this under the light, but for right now, we're gonna put it back into blackout. All right, it's been 12 more hours here for our amaranth. Pull off our dome, give it a good once through. Everything's looking great. It's coming in very well. We're starting to see the leaves really develop at this stage. just kind of combing through it, looking for any signs of mold, and I don't see any, so that's great. Go ahead and start watering. Once again, guys, I'm sure you can see the condensation building up, so we'll give it a light mist. That's it, nothing crazy. Give it a good once through. Everything looks good. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put this back in the blackout with the dome, and I'll be back in 12 more hours. All right, guys, it's been another 12 hours for our amaranth. We're gonna go ahead and pick up and remove the dome. Look at the growth on this, guys, absolutely amazing. If we remember when we started this, just for you a couple of seconds ago, but for a few days of us, we had a dry patch in here. A patch that wasn't very much germinated. Now we can see it clearly. Everything looks great. It looks beautiful. Magnificent, magnificent. Today we're gonna be pulling this out of dome, out of blackout, and it's gonna be going into light as well. So just a quick mist, guys, nothing horrible. It looks great, it feels good. You can feel the weight. I can feel a good bit of water weight on it. So I'm not gonna bottom water. Everything looks good, no signs of mold. And just like this, I'm gonna stick it on a rack, and I'm gonna put some fans on each level blowing. All right, as we can see right here, we got a fan, we got our lights on. 2 lights, one to the front, one to the back. And of course, we're gonna put this in the middle of the rack where it's level, and looks great. Center of the rack, I'll say, not middle, but center. All right, guys, it's 12 hours into daylight for amaranth. Looks like a great crop, absolutely magnificent. It feels a little light, so I'm gonna give it some bottom water, and we're also gonna do the normal top water as well. So when I do a bottom water, all I do is just fill it up to these 2 ridges here. And of course, you can see about how much water that is. The last thing you want to do is overwater. That's going to introduce great conditions for mold, and we don't want mold in our growth. So I'm going to give this a good water around the edges here. In the middle. Looks great. And like I said, I was looking for any signs of mold, and there's absolutely none. This is going to be a great crop. I'm going to go ahead and put this back into light for 12 more hours before I water again. See you then. Alright guys, 12 more hours for amaranth here. Come to my shed today, and we're a little above temperature, and when that happens, my the soil is dried out pretty heavily. So this is real close to harvest. I'm gonna water it one more day. I'm gonna pay special attention around the edges here, and then the next time we come back to the shed, we'll harvest. Like I say, I'm spraying definitely around the edges here, paying attention to these. This is the first thing to dry out, is the edges, and then it goes towards the center of the crop. Everything looks good. Once again, no mold. That's pretty much the reason why we keep our humidity down. Right now we're running at 48% humidity, and we don't want any mold. Everything looks good here. Absolutely beautiful. It's a little dry, but it definitely it's time for harvest. So I give it one more water, and like I said, when I come back, we're going to be harvesting.
All right, amaranth is actually ready for harvest. It's about 1.5 inches over the edge, has a full leaf, not a full leaf, a full foliage, I guess you'd call it, and the leaves are open, so this is actually ready for harvest.